grant, CDBG, funding for the urgent need infrastructure repair project.
Thank you. This public hearing is required as part of the grant project. There's some documentation that needs to be submitted on the certificate of completion. So we can make that packet. Just a broad overview.
Say, Paul, is the mic on there? Just to double check.
It is, but you have to speak
Okay.
into it pretty well.
Okay, sorry about that. When local match, 244,377.22. The local match was made up of a lot of weekend time, that's staff time, overtime, as well as equipment costs to freeze and repair roads and water main, water lines. And there was also some dollars that were included to pay some contractors to do some work as well. But the project was broken into phases. Phase one was mainly the emergency response that we had to do immediately. And then phase two was basically where we might hire a contractor, Jake's Excavating, as well as comm engineering, do some engineering on that to repair some of the water main. Other than that, Scott, do you have anything to add?
No, other than we had some good improvements out of this. I mean, we made, what do they say? We made lemonade out of lemons. Again, a difficult situation, but we did get some funding, and we had some really nice permanent improvements that were done with the funding that we received. And the project is complete, and this will be the final part of that project. And then once we submit this, we'll get reimbursed for the grant portion of the funding.
Right, yeah, so actually, we should be seeing that money coming in sooner than later. I would hope within the next week or two. And then we'll go through, just work those out, our processes, and then the state will be here probably March or April to do some on-site monitoring when they come in. Then we're at our final year that we have all our paperwork and through those specs and areas as well. Answer any questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
It is a public hearing, so if the public has any questions.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Are there any questions or comments? None. So we'll close the public hearing. Moving on to, I call the regular meeting to order.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recording of the roll.
All present?
Item C, approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Mildren to approve the consent agenda as presented. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mildren?
Yes.
Semo?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on to item D, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Tower to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item E, citizens wishing to address the commission on items on the agenda. Yes, sir? If you could please come up to the podium and please state your name and address. And again, if you could be close to the microphone.
Yep. Don Mackey, from Street Ironwood. I'd like to comment on item O, which is 9 for Trouble Road.
Closing Air Street, Lake Street, and Wall Avenue will have a negative effect on the growth in Ironwood. The ordinance will have trucks use the main streets business route in Ironwood. Aurora then turn down on Suffolk Street and proceed down Douglas to Overland Drive. The Aurora Suffolk corner will be an accident waiting to happen when a 60-foot tractor trailer tries to maneuver this intersection with vehicles and pedestrians near the crosswalk. Aurora Street is also too narrow, especially during the winter when the snow is not removed. The ordinance will negatively impact the public safety of Ironwood citizens and visitors downtown. The Air Street, Lake, and McCall Avenue, along with others, are designated as Class A roads to accommodate the larger vehicles. So why close them? There is no basis for the 30,000 pound load limit. Federal and state load weight limits are based on axle loads, not total gross loads. Licenses are based on the gross vehicle weights. The closing of Air and McCall adds to the cost of doing business in Ironwood. An example of the increased cost from the business I manage is a dump truck normally charges $80 per hour, which is built into the cost of material we do sell. Making a delivery to Hurley, and I timed it before we stop in Hurley using 4-wheel drive versus the Air Street and McLeod at 7 minutes to the delivery time, are $9.33. That's per load. The city needs to find ways to attract and retain business and jobs, not hinder and increase the cost of doing business in Ironwood. This ordinance should be repealed and rethought before the signs go up, and it is just another block in the road for progress in Ironwood.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Yes, sir?
Bill Martell, 420 West Francis Street, and for 647 Huron Street. Now, under section O for street signs, I'd like to know exactly, I believe it is where sign 23 or 24 is going. Sign number 23, because it's nowhere on your map. For section M concerning your road paving, I'd like you to finish the roads that you promised us last year. Nor location and North Park Road before you start Curry Street and Mansfield Street. Anything that wasn't approved last year should be on the bottom of the list. And as for section G, it's marked under there, improvements to the Little Park, it's just marked as in progress. You have been violating my property rights since 2010. And I want to know how much longer the City of Ironwood and the City Commission is going to violate my property rights, which is state law, which means you are also violating your city charter. Now, last year, Little League started construction, more or less put a filter on the north side of the third baseline, and they didn't start that in mid-October. So who's in charge of this, the City of Ironwood or the Little League? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Item F, citizens wishing to address the commission on items not on the agenda. Yes, sir.
I'm Don Mackey, 132 Smith, Ironwood. I just wanted with the city commission, we did the safe sidewalk routes to schools. What are we going to do about the snow removal? Now we're putting the kids out in the middle of the street in the winter, though it's been going on. Where's the safe route in the winter? I hear that the equipment, the city but outside of right in front of the high school, a lot of them roads, especially the major ones, snow should be removed, snow blower or something, so it's walking on these sidewalks.
Scott?
Sometime in your future, you can address it.
Scott, could you address that, please?
Sure. Actually, the city has, it is plowing a number of additional sidewalks this winter that we've never plowed in the past, based on the safe routes to school recommendations. So, again, we can look at the, we do have a map showing which sidewalks that we do maintain. It's not every sidewalk in town, but some key ones around the high school area. So that has been implemented. Some additional sidewalks on US 2 are being plowed this winter, and next winter we anticipate plowing further to the east over toward the plaza area on US 2. So again, I think the sidewalks are being implemented. We don't have equipment issues. I'm not sure where that's coming from. We do have a good skid steer with a plow, snow blower on it that seems to be quite effective, and the guys are doing a good job keeping the sidewalks opened.
Very good.
Thanks.
And that section from the high school to, on Curry Street to the highway, is the snow removed on those sidewalks?
That
I
is
believe so,
removed on
right?
the sidewalk, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, all the way through there. Mhm.
Thank you.
Do you have any idea how much usage we're getting? I'm really thinking of where we're plowing in the Gateway Trail area. Is that getting some use?
I just happen to see, because I drive through there in the morning, people walking on it. Maybe I'll refer to Andrew. You're probably, are you seeing activity even in the wintertime on some of these routes?
Activity on, the trails.
Great.
Part of the process of identifying what sidewalks we're going to do, we watch the directions.
Sure. And I've seen a number of plans for Safe Roads to School, and the Safe Roads to School program doesn't always take into account winter, because they're looking for ways that children can ride bikes and walk, and winter does negatively affect that. So it's not something that's always going to be taken into account. I think most communities view this as a wonderful improvement, and it's there spring, summer, and fall. But as we get into winter, bike usage drops, walking drops for everyone, and so there are some good reasons for that not to take place in the winter.
Thank you. Any other items? No more. Moving on. Item G, presentation by Michael Brown, our Community Development Director, regarding the Comprehensive Plan Annual Report.
All right, thank you. As always, I will start with the statement and a guide principle and go right into the annual report. Picturing the tales of our past, building new trails for our future, nestled in the wilds of Michigan and Big Snow Country. Ironwood is a year-round destination that attracts residents and visitors alike. World-class recreational opportunities, from traditional activities like skiing and biking to emerging and innovative adventure sports. Vibrant civic spaces and cultural institutions, thriving businesses, intriguing historical attractions, and a welcoming, safe, and collaborative atmosphere. Ironwood is a vibrant, unique, small town where people come to enjoy the quality of life. This is translated as strength of will and courage in the face of adversity. The Finnish word sister encapsulates the spirit of the Ironwood community. The ethos of sisters is evident in the stories of Ironwood's past. From its early days in the mining town to World War I, where Ironwood residents gave their lives in service to this country. The same resilient spirit continues to drive Ironwood today. As community members work together to preserve and promote the prosperity, heritage, and beauty of the Ironwood community, forging new paths, uncovering new opportunities, and creating new stories for the future. And the guiding principle of the friendly community, Ironwood maintains a friendly and inviting atmosphere for maintenance and beautification of public spaces and infrastructure. Parks, streets, sidewalks, trails, and civic institutions. Residents, businesses, and civic organizations share in the responsibility to promote the community's image, high-quality service, and hospitality. Ironwood is an age-friendly community that offers amenities and opportunities for individuals at all stages of life. And with that, I'd like to go over the annual report for the comprehensive plan. Every year we do this on an annual basis for the Planning Commission. We're required by law to do this and go through this with you. Now that we have the plan, you'll see the similar format come back to you every year. This first report is actually the first 18 months of the plan, as the plan was originally adopted in July of 2014. So the remainder of 2014 and all of 2015 is encapsulated in this report. I'm not going to touch on this too long. There's a lot of information in here. You can go through it. If you have questions, you can contact me later. But really want to highlight some of the, the main features of the report. And really that comes down to what did we do this last 18 months with the comprehensive plan. We did a lot. You can see the chart here that indicates how many different projects we identified in trying to accomplish, what we accomplished, projects we accomplished that we didn't even say we were going to accomplish, kind of the status of those. And the implementation matrix, which is later as an attachment in the report, color-coded, shows you all different strategies that are in there, what we aimed to accomplish, what we did accomplish, additional things that we accomplished that we didn't set out to do. And we did a lot. And for the first 18 months, the city should be congratulated for the efforts that it put into this plan and its implementation. So here you can see it's color-coded. If you can zoom in enough, you can take a look at it. But really everything in yellow in those two columns is what was identified as projects for those 14 and 15. The areas that are highlighted in red are parts that we completed. And as you can see, there are, area projects that we identified that we completed. There's some that we haven't, that we're still working on. But there are other projects that we didn't even identify, that weren't even on the radar, that we're actually able to complete. So a lot of good things happened in the last 18 months, and we have a lot more things for the next year that we're planning on. One of the numbers that I want to highlight, which I think is really important, is the amount of funding that goes into implementing this plan. Out of all the money and projects that were funded this year, the last 18 months, only 2% of the funding came from the city of Ironwood. 98% came from other funding sources. And that's huge. And I think another thing to congratulate the city on for your responsibility of spending your money wisely and getting a lot done. So that's something else to really be proud of. Again, there's a number of other tables identify the park action plan, what we've done with parks, performance measures, and kind of over time, what's happening in the city, how are things going. This is really going to be a good gauge for identifying over a number of years, our programs working, our different projects that we've implemented having an effect. And this will really help us tweak things in the future to say, okay, this program's really working well, let's continue with this, or maybe this program's not working, and these are the results, and this is the evidence that shows us this, we can tweak it or try something new. So again, something important that we want to keep track of our performance measures. And with that, that's really what I want to talk to you about. Again, it's a brief overview. Again, the report's long. There's a lot of information in there. Take a look at it. If you have any other questions, please let me know. But again, just congratulate you on your efforts and what you've been able to accomplish so far. And with that, I answer any questions.
Michael, when you talk about the 98%, 2%, so are those specifically things like the playground equipment at Norrie Park, where you find groups and citizens that contribute to that, or the Bridge the Gap, where $25,000 was raised, or the new playground equipment for the Depot Park this year?
So, yeah, it really looks at all those types of activities. So any project or program that we've implemented or completed, it looks at what actual city cash came from the city general fund and went towards the project versus money or volunteer efforts that came from other sources. So again, the city's been very successful in obtaining grants to do a lot of its projects. So that's all factored in there. Which again is, are we going to be able to maintain that level moving forward? Probably not. I mean, I think that's, we did really well these first 18 months, but over time, money will have to be spent by the state, but we're still going to have those volunteer groups, so there's organizations, or those granting agencies that will kick in for projects, and we'll still be able to get a lot done very efficiently and cost effectively.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Just would like to add that as you congratulate us for the success, and certainly as I'm new to the commission, past leadership for supporting it, but it takes a lot of people to be that successful, and I want to commend the city staff and the management and everybody involved for seeking out the grants, for working hard in writing them and administering them, because it's a lot of work, for all the volunteers that help, all the civic organizations, all the businesses that contribute. I mean, it's a huge effort coordinated effort from a lot of people. So thank you very much for everybody in the city and the city staff for your part in making this possible. Thank you. Moving on to old business. Item H, discuss and consider awarding the city branding project to Paper Moon in the amount of $7,975 and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to sign the applicable documents.
They have shown expert level understanding of branding and marketing. They are confident they will deliver the most best results. We are looking for you to approve the contract based on the memo presented and to be consistent with the company's plan. Do you have any questions?
How long do you anticipate the branding process will take?
So the branding process is projected to be completed in May.
And where will input come from? Will you be talking to stakeholders? Will you be consulting different committees part of the process?
All the committees will be involved, planning commission, EDC, Parks and Rec, they'll all be consulted along with yourselves. And based on all the common plan, public engagement, and what was covered.
So there's a public engagement piece.
Yes.
Looks good to me. I don't have any questions. The company is close enough to Ironwood to know kind of what we're about, what we stand for, and I think they'll do a good job. I'm excited to move forward and kind of put a little tag on Ironwood. So that being said, I will make a motion that we award the city branding project as described in item H.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Semo to award the city branding project as described in item H. Further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Semo?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildred?
Yes.
Virgil?
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Item I, discuss and consider awarding Curry Park electrical bid to Linquist Electric Incorporated in the amount of $37,323 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign applicable documents.
Thank you. This project is a UNR Trust Fund grant project that we were awarded last year. It takes a little while to go through the process, but we're to the point now where we were able to bid out the electrical upgrade projects at Curry Park. This is a project that the city has been working towards for a number of years now. With this project, we will be able to upgrade 12 electrical services at 12 individual campsites. We'll also be upgrading the electrical service to 800 amp service, and again providing 12 pedestal upgrades on 12 per campsites. Part of this process will also be purchase and installation of some handicap accessible picnic tables, landscaping. We're going to be redoing the gravel paths at the campsites themselves. That work will be in-kind local match for our DPW department. The city also has a cash contribution that is committed of $3,200 towards that project. These funds actually came from timber sales that the city has had in the past couple of years. So that's kind of where the money's come from. And then $37,500 worth of grant funds from the DNR to cover this project. So the total project cost will be $50,000. And again, really nice electrical upgrades that people have been waiting for. And then, over time, as we have more funds come through, we want to work towards upgrading other campsites within the park. And again, we had one bidder, Linquist Electric.
they came in under budgets, so we are recommending award the bid to them.
Will the work be done in time for this summer's camping season?
Yes, we put a deadline of beginning of June, so that at least before the 4th of July and before some of the heavy camping days go on. Talking with Linguist, they like to get started as soon as possible, and once weather permits.
Will the campground be able to be used before that time, while they're doing the work?
We'll have to coordinate it.
Okay.
There's still coordination with DPW crews who will be working on the gravel pads, so they'll be working on it as time permits and as schedules permit with the campers.
Okay.
Make a motion, we award the bid as described in item I.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to award the as described in item I.
Good project.
And when it was worked on a long time, these type of upgrades will last a long time. So we'll be talking about 20 or 30 years there with new concrete pads in the electrical service, so that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, as Commissioner Corcoran mentioned, having been worked on for a long time and not giving up on reapplying for that trust fund grant. Or is it passport or trust fund?
We were awarded a trust fund grant. 2 previous applications were passport grants.
Okay.
So we switched grants, programs, and we fared better on this particular grant.
Great. Thank you.
And when we started on this process, it seemed that we would never be able to get a grant for this, and we just kept at it, so I guess it can happen after all.
That's great. Roll call vote, please.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildred?
Yes.
Semo?
Yes.
Virgil?
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to new business, item J, discuss and consider waiving the Memorial Building rental fee for the Ironwood Theater Big Hit Wine and Beer Fest on February 27th. Hi.
Leanne Garski, I'm the Vice President of the Historical Theater. We're having our big fundraiser on February 27th, and we've decided this year to have it in the beautiful City of Ironwood. This is going to be an annual fundraiser, and we hope it to be an annual event. They used to have 2 fundraisers, a silent auction around the holiday time, and then in the last 2 years, a wine festival with auctions. So we decided to combine the efforts and make one huge fundraiser, and we're very excited about it. And as you can imagine, the theater is a challenge to keep up and running, but there is an amazing amount of volunteers that work tirelessly to help that theater, and it's such an asset to our community and to the downtown Ironwood. So with that said, we're just asking that we could get the rental fee waiver for the profits going back to the theater.
I'd like to point out that in addition to all those great things, the city owns that building, so we're kind of giving permission to ourselves in a way here. So I'll make a motion, we grant the waiver described in item J.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Mildren to grant the waiver as described in item J. Further discussion?
Other than the fact that Leanne has gobs of tickets for sale, and so do I, and
Yes, lots of tickets. We love to see everyone there.
Right.
And we're really excited that it's here in the city building, because this is such a gorgeous building, and it always gives that extra chance for someone who's never been in here to see it for the first time, which is always fun.
Sure. And I'd like to add to that all of us that grew up here in Ironwood, in the 60s, 70s, we had dances in this memorial building almost every weekend, all winter long. And so this is a return to that type of activity, and it's wonderful.
And the area businesses and individuals are very generous in donating items and helping with the success of the event. So it is a really nice community event. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Sauer.
Yes.
Virgil.
Yes. Motion carries. Item K, discuss and consider resolution number 016-003, amending the General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2015-2016.
Thank you. Tonight, we have a resolution to amend the budget for fiscal year 2015-16, that we are currently in. Typically, in the past, since I've been here, we've done this once a year, usually at the end of our fiscal year, and they need to align on our actual revenues and expenditures with our actual revenues, our actual expenditures. And this year, we're able to do it sooner, and that was due to some bigger changes that happened after the budget was approved. And I printed a few bullets out that I'll go over here in a moment, highlighting some of the bigger items. With the General Appropriations Act, just kind of discussed at the workshop, we're going to see a little format change. On the third page, it starts on the third page of the resolution. You kind of see some bold numbers. And what we're doing is, of course, we've always adopted our budget, the general fund specifically, by department, on a departmental basis. And in our audit report, when we report it basically by activities. So with the general government activities, it includes 8 to 10 different general fund departments. It allows us to adopt it in a bigger number. From an audit standpoint, and administratively as well, as tend to reduce the amount of budget amendments that we need to do during the year. We know we're never going to hit our exact budget numbers, but if we're over in some areas and under in others, we wouldn't necessarily have to do a budget amendment every time. So it's a change that I would like to see adopted, and the auditors are recommending it, and Scott's been saying as well. It is the commission's choice on how they'd like that adopted. This is how we're presenting it. So I guess I'd like to stop right there before I move on and get any feedback if the commission's on board with this new format or one way or the other.
Well, for me, it makes sense. If things work out in one area and there's something extra, it goes to another area, I like the format better, the new format. So it makes sense to me.
I guess just to add in with the financials that are report monthly, you'll still see that same exact format. So you're still going to see that departmental breakdown. We still budget line item by line item in our general ledger system. And you'll still get the financials broken down on a departmental basis, so you can see budget to actual by department. So this is mainly a kind of format thing for the General Appropriations Act specifically. With that, then I'll touch on the highlights of some of the bigger items that the budget amendments for. With the general fund, the purchase of the fire truck, the decision that was made after we approved the budget, $250,000, $100,000 of that coming from fund balance that we've already had set aside for that purchase of the truck. And then the internal loan of the equipment fund for $115,000. The Western Gateway Trail project, when we budgeted for the whole project in this fiscal year. We did have work done prior to this fiscal year, so it's just reducing that portion down to the amount that we're going to spend this fiscal year. Wage increases, the commission approved wage increases for staff after we approved the budget. The effect on the general fund is approximately $37,000. So that's adjusting for that. And the Excel land sale and the related transfer to the IADC for $30,000. Getting that in the budget. with the major street fund, the Hemlock Street project. We go over a grant, looking to do a total rebuild for the phase 2 of the Hemlock Street, instead we did an overlay. So we're reducing the project dollars that we had budgeted for that. The local street, we had the Excel damage release over Southwest Road, $55,000, putting that in the budget. The CDBG housing grant fund, the appendage is to reflect last year's activity, get that out since we can budget for the full grant project this fiscal year. Revolving loan fund, economic development appropriation fund, just approved a new loan with Escalon, and we will be receiving a payment this fiscal year, so we're going into that. The water fund, the CDBG urgent need grant, it's now complete. We did not have it in the budget, and this budget of $435,000 represents the expenses for this fiscal year. There was a lot less down in prior fiscal years. Total project was $775,000. This reflects this fiscal year's activity. And the sewer fund is the SAW grant. We had budgeted for a portion of it. Looks like the activity is going to be higher than what we expected. So just accounting for the grant revenue and expenditures in the sewer fund. So those are the main amendments. There were some smaller things. We received some smaller grants. There were some small public safety grants that were accounting for the grant revenue, the expenditures. Other than these major ones, there's nothing significant that was needed to report. So with that, answer any questions.
Well, I don't have any questions, so I guess I would just make a motion that we approve resolution 016-003 as discussed in item K.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Semo to approve resolution number 016-003 as described in item K. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mildred.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Bertrand.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. Item L, discuss and consider resolution number 016-005, recognizing Friends of the Library as a nonprofit organization for a charitable gaming license.
This item really is just a formality. And before I specifically discuss it, I want to just again recognize the Friends of the Ironwood Library. They are a group of volunteers who tirelessly, through aching knees and aching arms, do so much work for us and do that fabulous twice-a-year book sale. They are always looking for new ways to raise money for the library, and we are eternally thankful. So we had a wonderful patron who donated a book quilt, a quilt that looks like books on a shelf. And she donated that to the Friends, and the Friends would like to raffle that off. And in order to get a permit through the state of Michigan, there are various formalities and paperwork that the Friends have to go through, and this is one of them. So thank you in advance for your consideration.
I would just like to note that if someone would entertain a motion that on the resolution, that the name of the organization be edited to be Friends of the Ironwood Carnegie Library.
So is this something that we just have to do once or every single time? Just once?
We've done it for the polar bears, we've done it for other entities.
It's never come around to the library ever? Wow. I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution described in item L.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Tower to approve the resolution as described in item L. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Seymour.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Bertrand.
Yes. Thank you. Item M, discuss and consider 2016 local street paving mill pulverized overlay project.
Thank you. As you see the map here on the screen, it's identifying the streets that we would propose to mill and overlay or pulverize and overlay this summer. What you'll see, Karen, if you go back to the other map. They're highlighted in red and blue are the streets that would be proposed to be pulverized or milled and overlaid. You'll see the area in, I guess I'd call that green. That's the area, we want to identify it because the area, that neighborhood does need work, but we are looking at utility work in that area. And we'll be talking to the city commission in more detail about the water and sewer needs in that area. It is not proposed right now as the mill and overlay area because we don't want to put the streets in and take them out in a year or two here. But everything else in red and blue is what is proposed. Some of the questions last fall were how far can we stretch the dollars we have? And it looks like right now we're in a pretty good position, actually very good position financially, and we can stretch it into some other areas. You'll see Norrie Park Road, we are proposing to do some work on that worst section of Norrie Park Road from Lime Street to Riverside, yes. Thank you. And we have also included a couple other sections. We were originally concentrating in the Norrie area, and that's we still will concentrate and finish up those roads in that area. But we do feel we have the funds to include a couple additional areas. One is Curry Street by the high school between US 2 and Air Street. That's getting pretty rough. We've been putting a lot of attention there with our DPW, patching that road. And also Country Club Road, the section that's in the city, from Air Street just to the north to the city boundary. So we feel we can include that with the dollars that we have. And actually, looking at our budget, we feel we can actually include some more than this potentially. We want to talk to the commission about that also. So Karen, if you go to the next map. So again, this work on that map you're looking at is about $500,000 worth of street improvements is what you're looking at. And that's just based on our estimate on quantities. With that, we feel we have some dollars to do some additional work in the city. And part of that is we want to do a crack seal project. We talked about that. I believe that's a priority of the city commission to also maintain some of the roads that we've built over the last few years. And crack sealing is a very effective way to do that. So we feel we could earmark roughly about $200,000 to a crack seal program with the dollars you have right now. And also do some additional neighborhoods. And again, we haven't really talked to the commission about this, so we're looking for some feedback. The area in red, which is the Aurora Heights area, and the cemetery area are areas that we've talked about in the past. I'll look at the cemetery. Again, in that area, you have about 3.5 miles of street. We've struggled over the years, how can we get the roads in that area fixed? Well, you do have some general fund street dollars that could be applied to that. I don't think you have enough to do all the roads in there. You have about 3.5 miles, but I think you have enough to do about half of them. So it could be a good start to get in that direction if you want to invest some of the dollars in the cemetery roads. And again, we're looking at roughly about $150,000 that could be applied in the cemetery, which is about half of what you would need to do all the streets in there. But you'd be a long way toward that goal of getting those roads in better shape. In the Aurora Heights area, which is the area in red, that neighborhood there, again, the streets right now, it's essentially gravel over asphalt. I did go out this summer after we were doing our project, took a look in that area, and what it appears is the roads many years ago were asphalt streets, and they were so deteriorated, they basically put a gravel overlay over the top of them. So they are, for better sense of discussion, they are asphalt streets with gravel on top. So you do have enough dollars in the dollars that you have in the road budget to accomplish that also, and that would be approximately $150,000. So to start from the beginning, we have about $500,000 in the original scope of work. We've added some streets there. That was that first map you were looking at. You have about $200,000 that we could do a nice crack seal project this year, which would be pretty substantial. You have $150,000 that you could put toward some cemetery roads, and another $150,000 you could put toward Aurora Heights. If you do the math, that comes out to approximately $1 million that you have to put into infrastructure. So we want some feedback on that. Again, we do have some of that already under contract to go forward. Whether you want to include some, all, or have some different ideas on what you'd like to do. we'd like to have that discussion.
Sure. So one of the great things in working on streets, starting as soon as we could, is that the price of asphalt, which is oil, is going to be way down.
Correct.
So I don't think, I don't think that based on traditional prices of oil, it's going to get much lower than it is this year. So it would really benefit the city residents to get as much bang for our buck as we can this year with contracts going out as soon as possible. That's my comment on this.
Okay.
Well, I was looking at one of my older maps and just trying to compare what we have going on now. I'd just like to ensure that when we went out for our millage that we're actually completing everything that we said that we're going to complete with the money, because I noticed Norrie Park is a little different, and we had added, I think, South Range Road, and I'm not objecting to any of that. I just want to make sure that, as I think Mr. Martel had mentioned, that we complete what we say that we're going to complete, ensure that we do that. And I don't know how difficult it would be to update I'm not sure, the PACER program, like have all of our roads updated, so something that the commissioners could look at that has all of our roads laid out, what are good, bad, and ugly, and address it this way. I would feel more comfortable making my decision if I had seen an update, and I don't know if that would be too time consuming or not.
That's going to be we do plan to do that.
Okay.
To answer the question, that's going to be a very extensive process. We'll go out and actually rate every road. We drive every road and analyze it and put it into a database. So that's going to take some time and probably over the course of the summer to actually accomplish that.
And in support of the cemetery, I know it needs a lot of work. I don't know where we are as far as like a commission to take a look at the perpetual care fund. I think it was initially set up to, take care of the cemetery off of the interest, and I don't think it's really doing much for us. I don't know if that's something that we could look at again to better utilize the funds that we have available there. So that's kind of one of my concerns. Yeah, I just kind of like to make sure that we take care of what we promised we were going to take care of. I'd like to see the PACER update. I'm not sure about the Aurora Heights. I just thought that was gravel forever. And I know one time when we were talking about doing roads that we weren't going to address gravel, and I know there's at least a spot over by Karen's house as well that's gravel. So if we're going to take a look at doing something that's kind of appearing to be gravel, maybe we take a look at making roads whole as well. So that's kind of my input on this topic.
What are you looking for tonight? Is this just mostly informational?
Well, we are going to be bringing back to you, I guess, some feedback on this, if we're going in the right direction, if that's where you'd like to see the funds invested, I guess, in the infrastructure. And then we will be bringing back to you more detailed information, I guess, on going forward with either, we already have a contract in place, and we're going to have to look at, do we amend that contract? Do we go out and rebid some of this work? We have some work that already is under contract to complete this summer. So we'll be having that discussion and actually getting approval to go forward either with a change order or a new contract.
In terms of dollars, $1 million, I mean, we can't be doing, do you see the funding as being available for, how much of this can we realistically look at?
It's actually $1 million, and actually if Paul could touch on that. Question is where is that coming from? And Paul is going to give you a little background on that. It's really one-time dollars. I mean, it's not like this money's coming in all the time, but through a number of different things, through the millage and other things, we have the opportunity here. I'll call it on a one-time basis to do some improvements.
Sure, so just a quick breakdown, just shy of 500,000 is the street bond, capital improvement bond, then we went out the remaining dollars left in there. Then we have funds remaining from the Hemlock Street project, over the total between Appleton and overlay. And we had set aside funds for that in the major street, approximately $200,000 coming from there. We had the last couple of years actually budgeting for some crack sealing, seal coating type maintenance and type of things. And they're all $70,000 for those activities that the commission has kind of assigned over the last few years that we haven't gotten to those yet. The funds I've received from Excel for the damage to Silver West Road, approximately $55,000 for that. And then this year, or I should say last fiscal year, we received some one-time dollars, big dollars from our liability insurance. We were around 130,000, something like that. We received one time, basically, with our insurance company, liability insurance company, the money goes to a board, and if claims are down, they redistribute that back out to the members. So we receive some dollars from that. And then there's also a one-time distribution that the pool made back to the city, both that which occurred in last fiscal year. So that was one nice, again, one-time dollars that we usually set aside to do a one-time project. So that's kind of the breakdown of those, of that 1 million. The numbers that we actually add up to $1 million approximately, where they came from.
I won't deny, it's pretty exciting to look at all of this possible work and think that we can actually afford to do this. It's kind of like a Christmas. What I personally would like to see is a little review of what we originally did say we would do as part of the mill and overlay. I think that's what you were referring to, Kim. I'd like to make sure that we're, again, doing what we said we would.
Sure.
You know, and
in the map that was presented, the Nori project, in the streets there are in the, which colors again?
It'd be either red or the blue.
Red or the blue. And those were what was talked about last year, that's carrying over.
Correct, that was in the original map, and actually, if you recall, when we went out to the millage, we actually put in more roads than we thought we could pave. We wanted to put more in there, just for this kind of opportunity. So, again, we'll bring that map back to you so you can see what was put in when we went out to the millage, just to compare it, to make sure we haven't missed something, but I'm fairly confident that all the roads will be, and not fairly confident, I am confident all the roads that were in there will be paved. The only section would be the remainder of Nori Park Road further, to the east. Again, the dollars, I guess, aren't available for that yet, but again, we're really narrowing down the roads that we have to look at budgeting for now in the next budget cycle. So we're not done talking about this, and as we start talking the 2016-17 budget, we're going to be talking about roads. We're going to be talking about all the same thing. It's about putting dollars in for that, because it's never ending.
Right. So the piece of South Range Road that's near the Excel property, that did sustain some damage then, and that's why it's being done?
Correct. Yeah, that was what Excel has paid to repair, I guess. That's in front of the substation area. And again, that was the $54,000 or $55,000 that they provided for. Again, we do a pulverize and pave in that area. It's kind of that low area as you go down the hill.
Right.
It's starting to alligator, and there's some damage that this would be a nice improvement for that section of roadway.
I think it's a good idea.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's wonderful that in a year that the dollars are available, the price of asphalt is low. To me, and so it'll benefit the city and all of the residents. It's a good thing.
I'm not going to repeat what Commissioner Corcoran said, but she touched on every point I was going to bring up. The cemetery perpetual care fund, I would like to look at that again and see if we can tap that for improvements in the cemetery. I know we've talked about it in the past, but I'd like to consider that again.
We could bring it back for discussion. Again, very, very limited what we can do with the funds, but there might be some creative ways to try to better utilize those funds. So,
I think the sense is we love this project, what's not to like. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
yeah, unless there's something we're missing, or absolutely. something, don't go down this road, so to speak. But I think it looks like a very nice project. Actually, if you look at what's on the map, and again, I don't have the pacer rating to back this up, but we'd be in very good shape, streetwise, I think. Again, we went through it trying to look at other roads that were in distress, and we had a hard time finding some. I think what's on the map here is what we came up with at the moment.
So you feel comfortable with your Aurora Heights area?
Yeah, I think with the concept was we're paving roads that were paved in the past.
Yeah, that's
And
why I
again,
kind of was concerned about
yeah,
Aurora Heights.
yeah.
I guess I didn't think it was ever paved.
And I didn't-
It was just gravel.
Right.
So
I had to
that was my initial
I had to
concern when
prove it to Scott.
when I started looking at this, that I probably wouldn't be in support of Aurora Heights, just if it was gravel, it should remain gravel, and we should take a look at some of our other roads that are probably in poor shape
Sure.
before we go to that area. And like I said, it's never ending, it's something that will just
Right.
keep going on and on and on. But-
And I will say that on the map that you had there, probably at least one or more of those roads has always been gravel. So we could discuss that.
And we can look at that, yeah.
You know,
All right.
but some of them were paved. I showed Scott last summer.
Yeah, you come on and look, and there was asphalt underneath the gravel. And again, if there's one that didn't have asphalt under it, we can look at that too.
Right.
That was the intent. It would be something that was previously paved.
It could be less than the amount on this list, because some of the streets, I think, were always gravel.
Okay.
So, but we can look at that.
So what's the city's policy if there's some streets that were gravel? What if they become developed and people build homes on them, et cetera?
What the city's done in the past, and this, there's no right or wrong answer to it, my understanding is pretty typical. I guess if you have a gravel road and you upgrade to asphalt, you pay for a part of that through an assessment or some other approach. And the city's applied that in certain areas in the past. Again, I don't think the city's done assessments for a number of years, but it's another funding mechanism to get some roads done. So typically, you'll see that the adjacent property owners will at least initially pay for a part of that asphalt street, if it, in fact, has never been or asphalt before.
And then looking forward on that Phase 4 area, the green, and you had mentioned, which makes perfect sense, to await fixing the roads till you fix the infrastructure. From the road surfacing part, I'm just concerned down the road that we would have some funds to be able to do that as well.
Well, if we do the utilities, the roads will get done with that project. If for some reason we didn't do the utilities, and I wouldn't recommend that because they do need to be replaced in that area.
Okay, so paving those roads would come from funds to
Yeah,
do the...
when we do a water and sewer project,
Okay.
the water and sewer funds also pay to replace the street on top, sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And just one last question then. With all of the work that was done last year, wonderful work, but now we're going through a winter, spring will come here, and if there is some portion of some road that somehow didn't make it through the winter, spring cycle as well as it should, that will be looked at also.
Absolutely. Again, with the roads that are under contract right now that we did the utilities on last winter, a number of those have just the first lift of asphalt put down. And that's why we do that. So if there's a settlement, it can be corrected. And we would intend to do that before we do the final lift of asphalt. Yep.
And would these be projects that you just extend throughout the summer, or what's the certain time frame?
Yeah, time frame for the, call it the Millman overlay or the pulverize and pave project, the local street project would be this summer. We intend to get that project completed yet this summer. And then the green area, again, that's going to take some more discussion through the budget process. It entails typically rural development, making applications to them for funding, looking at grants versus loans, a number of different things. That's a longer time frame to go through that process.
Can you go back to the cemetery map that you had up there? What part would you consider as phase 1?
And we haven't actually gotten to that part yet. My initial thought is we want to do it systematically and not just jump around. So you probably want to take a block of roads and get them done. have them paved, but I also want to visit with the cemetery sexton and Bob Richards, kind of look at the traffic patterns in there and where can we get the best bang for the buck. I'd rather put it on the roads that are more traveled than the ones that are not. So yet to be determined on exactly which roads would be the ones we'd end up paving.
So as we move forward with this, there is going to be, there's the first phase that's completing roads that were promised to be done. And then, so there will be a dollar amount attached to each phase as we go into it.
Probably two different ways to approach this. We do want to complete the, ones that have been already identified. Two different ways to approach it. One is to change order in the work to the existing contract, negotiate maybe a reduced dollar amount for the paving, because we know that the prices have come down. Yes. The other would be to repackage some of these roads and go out and rebid some of them separately. And again, would we get better bids or not, I don't know, but I bring back both options to you after we've had a chance to evaluate both of those in a little more detail. But the intent would be to do that fairly quickly here over the next month, so we can get out and get a project moving forward.
Well, I'm strongly in favor of doing everything that we can do. If it's financially feasible, it's a great project.
I think I would, encourage coming back with the information that the other commissioners requested, and then we can review that perhaps at the next meeting.
We will do that.
Okay. Thank you. Item N, discuss and consider approving change order number 1 with Climb Pump and Well Drilling, Inc. in the amount of $7,724.85 for a new submersible well pump.
A little while back, the commission approved the Climb Well Drilling to come in and take the pump out of the wells. Fill you in on that during the manager's report. The existing pump is 18 years old, kind of beyond its useful life. And we need to replace it for a cost of $77.2485. And that's probably one of the reasons why our production is reduced dramatically.
I'll make a motion, we approve the change order in item N.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to approve the change order as described in item N. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Power.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Virgil.
Yes. Thank you. Item O, discuss and consider authorizing bids for the purchase or installation of truck route signs.
Thank you. The truck route ordinance has been approved, and we are moving forward with the signing plan. So as you can see, the signing plan has been developed. There's been a lot of input, public safety, city staff. There's been some review by the DOT as some of the signs are along US 2 and in that area. So with that, there is a bid spec that's been put together to go out and get the signs actually made. And there's a variety of signs that would be included with this truck route. Again, informational, also enforceable. And again, with the dollar amounts we're talking somewhere in the $5,000 range. That's where we have to go out and get quotes or bids. So we're bringing it to the city commission. So if we do go over that amount, we're going through the right process. So we'll go out and get bids and then bring them back to the city commission for consideration.
Do you have a ballpark number that you're expecting to see here on these bids?
An estimate?
Estimate, yeah.
They're going to be bidding it, so it's probably somewhere between the $5,000 and $7,000 range. Again, we do have an optional installation bid here, so if they came in higher than we expected or wanted, we would look to maybe install the signs with our own city forces. If the bids came in very cost-effective, we could have the contractor do it, so we'll be able to pick and choose on a couple different options here to keep the cost down.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the bids described in item O.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Mildred to authorize the bids as described in item O. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item P, consider approval of rural development pay package in the amount of $29,000.
Again, they bid the project, and we're paying for the water and sewer portion of that. So it's reimbursing them for some of the work that's already been completed. I did talk to Mike Foley here from Coleman Engineering. They're doing the engineering project management on this, and I know it always comes up. And as far as where are we at financially, and again, we're in a good position. Mike's going to do something a little more detailed for you guys, so you can see exactly where all the dollars are and where they're flowing. It's not as simple as just pulling a number. There's a number of different projects involved, and he'll pull that all together and give you a good snapshot prior to the next meeting where we sit with the budget. But we are fine. We do have some dollars. Retainage dollars, significant amount of retainage dollars set aside too to make sure the work gets completed. We'll have a good report prior to the next meeting, Mike? Correct. For the commission? Okay.
Great. Thank you, that's just useful information for us.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did you read item P already?
Yeah, we're on item P.
I'll make a motion, we approve the pay package described in item P.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to approve the pay package as described in item P. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildren?
Yes.
Semo?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Bergeron?
Yes. Motion carries. Item Q, the second part of that, the sewer portion.
Same discussion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the pay package described in item Q.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to approve the pay package as described in item Q. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mildren?
Yes.
Semo?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Bergeron?
Yes. Item R, discuss and consider approving the First Amendment to Subrecipient Agreement between Northern Economic Initiatives, Inc. and the City of Ironwood for the Michigan Community Development Block Grant Program.
All right, thank you. This item is a cleanup item. We have an existing agreement with our revolving loan fund with Northern Economic Initiatives through the CBD program at the state level, and this is just an extension of that agreement. Any other questions you might have?
I'll make a motion, we approve the amendment described in item R.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to approve the amendment as described in item R. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Semo?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildren?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Bergeron?
Yes. Motion carries. Item S, the manager's report.
Just a few items to highlight. Again, we're gearing up for another busy summer, which is a good thing. We're not out of winter yet. As you see, snow is starting to accumulate. I did give you a copy of the county's, they keep a record of snowfall by month over the last, seems like forever, and you have the list here. And you'll see we started out slow, but we're quickly starting to get back to our averages, and we'll see over the next month or two where we end up. But our DPW guys, I want to basically recognize them. I mean, they're out there plowing streets, in the middle of the night when we're all sleeping. They get up and they're out at midnight, 2 in the morning, going through a whole shift, plowing the roads, pulling snow, removing snow, plowing sidewalks, and they do a great job. I think we all recognize that, and sometimes we take it for granted, but I think they're doing a great job, as they always do, doing an excellent job this year. And we've even added more activities for them with more additional sidewalks that they're maintaining and things such as that. So again, just to, when you see one of the snowplow drivers go by, wave to them, because they don't always get, they're out plowing streets and some of that snow goes into people's driveways, and we all have to remove it, but that's part of living in big snow country. But pleased to have the work they're doing. And also to just reiterate too, they are maintaining over 65 miles of road. I mean, it's a significant amount of roadway out there that these guys are keeping open for the public. So. Another item, we have a new store that'll be opening shortly in Ironwood Commons Plaza area, Fastenal, and you'll see over in that general area by Dunham's over there. Their store is in place, and from what I understand, they're looking at, Dennis, is it official on March 1st? March 1st roughly opening of that store, so a nice addition to the plaza again and to the community. So stop down there and check them out once they get opened up. Staff is also working again, and I bring this up every time, but it's work in progress, the bike grant. We have 6 properties that bids have been awarded on for demolition of blighted structures. Snow Country has those. The environmental work is done, and they're scheduling their time to take those down, just waiting for weather and everything. So you'll see those structures coming down here shortly. And staff has already also put out 5 more structures out to bid. So those bids are going to be received next week, and they'll be coming back to the City Commission for consideration. And that'd be the final 27 properties that we have approval to take down under this grant. So again, I think some real big positive impacts for some of these neighborhoods. So there's been a lot of work on behalf of staff, but I think some really positive impacts for these neighborhoods. So it's nice to see that. Bob had mentioned, Bob Turvinen, that the Well 201 rehabilitation project is well underway, and the contractor's been out there. And again, it's a proactive way of managing your well fields. So it's the first time we've done this in many, many years, if ever, I guess. So looking to keep this as a routine out in the well field, and Kleinman is doing the work, and I think that so far is going along very well, and we expect that hopefully that'll produce even a better pumping well out in the well field. As Michael said, we did receive bids for Curry Park. You did award those tonight. We also had received bids for Depot Park, and they're working through a process of evaluating the bid proposals. It's for a playground structure over there, so they're working through that with the Park and Rec and with the DNR, and I would expect that that'll be coming to the City Commission within the next few weeks, maybe a month or so, depending on the process. So again, I think you'll see some real nice improvements out at Depot Park this summer also. And we are going to have another workshop. Again, I thank the City Commission for workshopping before the City Commission meetings. It's really an opportunity for us to have some discussion with you, and I think it's been very effective. We do have another workshop scheduled for the next meeting, the 22nd, February 22nd. It'll be a joint workshop with the City Commission and the Library Board. And good opportunity to talk with them. And I think even beyond that, you have some workshops scheduled before your meetings. So again, a lot of things in the works, and a lot of good positive things going on. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Item T, other matters.
I don't know if everybody's aware, but Planning Commission did approve the conditional use permit for the Scandinavian log homes. And did they already move forward on that in some way? I heard somebody say $10,000 was going into the revolving loan fund. Is that happening that fast?
No, their payment is scheduled for, I believe it might be May, is their first payment. They pay it to the city because it's technically city loan, and then we move forward that to other initiatives.
But everything seems to be, is it locked in already, or are we still finishing up?
All the legal paperwork's complete, everything's gone through, the final necessary parts, so it's just a matter of, we actually are able to get in there, April 15th is first access the property and the building.
I just have a quick update. One of our last meetings, we passed a resolution not to support PA 269, at least a portion of it considered kind of a gag law. State officials have been ordered not to enforce PA 269 at an injunction issued by the U.S. District Judge. It has been deemed unconstitutional and is asking to overturn the law. So just an update.
Sure. And I would like to add my thanks on the DPW and the snow plowing this year. The schedule and the timing of when roads get plowed seems to really have been fine-tuned over the last couple of years. And it works on all the major arteries. It works for public transportation. It works for the business community. So good job. Thank you.
And I'd just like to add that I understand that the offices have sent out, business licenses to over 400 businesses, including nonprofits. And just that was a sobering number to me, to realize that we have so many businesses working hard in our community, and I happen to be a business owner, but thanking all the business owners in our area, small or large, for locating and working out of Ironwood, and whether you don't have any employees or part-time employees or many full-time employees, and offering the services that you offer. Just would like to thank them all for their hard work and their presence in our community. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
6:43.